Music Multiverse listeners, welcome back to Beyond Your Radio. It's Album Listen Challenge Redux 2026. This is episode 3, and that can only mean we're obviously in March. Currently, the blues record from Philip Sayce is the best scoring album this year at 21.5, edging out last month's challenger at 21.08. That's the Flying Burrito Brothers. So go back and check that out if you find out how much it missed by and what happened there, and all of ours from last year. Tonight, we welcome in an Album Listen Challenge from the newer region of Prague, but a band that began in 1996 out of Norway. The sound is both kind of an homage and a modern in the rock environment and that of Prague, but it layers and conceptually kind of has moves that even go to a folk expression and maybe much more, but find that out as we go along. We actually are going to 2003, this prog record that is unusual to one certain degree. It's kind of a 1970s proto rock. It hangs in a balance of recognizable Black Sabbath but trying to paint it pink. Floyd. The psyche it hangs on to reaches spacey levels in some cases, kind of exhausting a Hammond organ's features that might seem very possessed in their manifesto and also the crescendos. Even the recording process itself and the recording space they used was marred with interesting influences and very poor mix. Yeah, considering they were sharing the space with the Hells Angels from Trondheim at the time. This is also the smallest of the largest sounding prog records I can think of that leaves in all of this an amazing impression in just 27 minutes. The band has been described as a clever, loud mixture of heavy guitars, drums, 12-string acoustics, funky bass, percussion, screaming Hammond organs, as I already talked about, Rhodes, Mellotron, and 70s synth, topped with plentiful vocal harmonies and a vocal that delivers in the modern psych rock prog world. Their name even derived from one of prog rock's greatest instrumental bands, as well as lyrical, but overall bands in that. This is Progeria by Arabs in Aspic. And yes, that's right. All right. There's Justin Smeby is on guitars and vocals. Eski Nilis on drums. Turge Nilis is on bass. I'm assuming they're related. Tommy Ingebrigtsen guitars. Then you got guests. We got one of the people on organ, and then radio voices. Wouldn't that have been cool if they would have asked Ray? So This album actually comes out in 2003, but it doesn't. It kind of goes out of print, and it gets a reshowing in 2021. So the track list here of just 4 songs in 27 minutes. Progeria, the title track, in 1 minute and 47 seconds. Then it goes into Silver Storm at 8 minutes and 1 second. Then it's a medley of Shalob's Cave, The Great Shalob, and Wizard in White. It's 7 minutes and 38. And then it finishes with Megalodon, 9:51. We will score the album on the album artwork, the album flow of music, the musicianship band melody, accessibility, and album production. All of that 0 to 5, 5 being the high score, 0 being no score at all. Then once we're all done, we will talk about where Progeria would be in our listening habits. Was it a one and done? I just did it. It's not for me. I liked it. It'll grow on me a little bit. And then number 3, I really enjoyed it, and it will probably become an album I go back to from time to time. And then, of course, I can't believe I missed this record. This one is going to be one of my favorites of all time. On the panel tonight is just one person. She's progressively uncertain about this aging thing. Susie Q. I'm
Hello.
playing on the idea of progeria, which is obviously the having an aging issue too quickly.
Okay.
I do not know if that is how the album is set up to be, but I can tell you that at this point in 1997, going to 2003, this band had been around, kind of doing a covering kind of thing, and this is their debut. And at that point, I'll shut my mouth and let Susie Q talk to us about Progeria from Arabs in Aspic.
Okay. Well, I definitely got the influences that you mentioned. Um, and I am not a huge Pink Floyd fan. To everyone said, I appreciate some of their songs and I appreciate their talent and all of that. It's just not a band that I personally ever got into in depth. Oh, I like your mug. Um,
Not as flashy as Mr. Young's, but
yeah. Um, but I definitely, yeah. So definitely heard influences of that or shades of that. Uh, prog wise, as I've been listening to more and more of these albums on the show, definitely heard that, picked up on those sounds, and obviously, the album in total and the songs each, um, they smell very much of prog. And also what is it? Stoner rock, right?
yeah, Stoner Rock definitely
Yeah.
in this. Yep,
After going out with you to see the band in Buffalo a few months back, um,
Elder.
so some of that feel and vibe is in
Mm-hmm.
there too. Um, overall, okay, well, I guess if we break it up, I really wasn't sure what was going on with the first track, and I thought, wow, what is going on with the first track? So I don't really have anything to say about that. I think my favorite of the four is Silver Storm. Um, I think it just, I don't know. I don't know if you sit down and listen to this whole album together in one sitting or if you go and come back, but I enjoyed that one. And then it, the album itself just felt long to me. And I don't know why. It could just be my mood too, because there's a lot of talent going on. There's a lot of really interesting sounds and transitions going on. Uh, so I don't know what it was about it, but it didn't grab me so much. I don't know why. Um, but then again, this isn't really my go-to sound either. So
When you saw the cover and the name of the band, what did you expect?
um honestly, I didn't really know, and I didn't know the background there, the Norway. I didn't really delve into that too much because I didn't really want to know. Uh, but I mean, looking back on it, extremely talented artists. And I did after listening to it, I read that their next album, their fans really gravitated to that a lot more so than this EP. And maybe I don't want to assume what anybody was doing, but it felt straightforward and some semi safe and structured. And I don't know what the next one sounds like. I'd be interested to hear it. I also saw that there was a live version of this album,
Hmm.
and I almost clicked on it to listen, but I just thought, no, I won't do it for now. But yeah, I don't know.
Okay. So we'll
Mhm.
get the scoring from you. The
Okay.
album artwork.
I mean, I like it. It's who is that? Am I supposed to know who that is?
No, I do not believe so. So the idea of progeria is the aging, a disease of aging quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And at the beginning of this, the 1 minute and 47 seconds is basically a vocal definition happening over sound. So they are vocally giving you the definition of progeria.
Right.
And is it pointed? Is it? I don't know. I don't know. I kind of, and for me, that's the one part here that has this. I'm not sure if progeria um, reaches all the tracks, right? I know a megalodon, this phantom shark,
Right.
that's aged over time and still aged or whatever, and they think it still exists. Um, but I don't know the cave and the great Shaloub, and I'm the wizard in that. But but that's all I know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he looks like a really cool guy. I like the colors. I like the font. So,
Yeah.
uh, I guess overall I'll give it a like 3.5.
Okay. The album flow of music.
I can't find fault in it. Um, it made sense to me, so I will give it a 4.
Musicianship, the band melody.
I'll give it a 4 or 5.
Accessibility. Is it easy to get into for any music listener or music listeners, however you want to do it? Zero to
Yeah.
five. Five meaning it's very easy, and accessible zero meaning it's not accessible at all. One, you get the idea.
Ooh, this one is hard coming from me. I would say unless you're a fan of this style and sound, it would be a lot to sit down to. Um, so I personally will give it like a 2.75. But yeah, I don't know.
Okay. And then finally, album production.
Um, just trying to think back. I'll give it like a 3.5.
All right. So for me, I did not
Oh.
know about this band at its beginning or even in the 2000s. It was brought to my attention by Sea of Tranquility. And not that they went into big discussions about it, but it had been one of their mentions when they did their alphabetical prog, and I was able to secure this particular CD from Laser's Edge at a very reasonable price. And I was kind of like, I wasn't expecting much. I
Hmm.
was kind of expecting, I don't know, based on their description, I kind of felt like it was going to be a doomy in that realm. But
Yeah.
I one of the things about this is it just has this way of hitting a lot of wonderful notes that are familiar. Um
Hmm.
and like the Sabbath and Floyd and mixing those two and having this psychedelic that kind of, I'm not a huge Hawkwind fan because they get a little bit too spacey in regards, but this one
Yeah.
kept its core. And I love the fact that they're huge King Crimson fans. And
Mm.
I was expecting the musicality to kind of go along that range, I think. and it didn't. It stayed in a stoner rock
Hmm.
environment, a proto rock environment more so. And I was stunned that I was enjoying it. And I had this feeling that this album sits more into that rock arena, the heavier rock arena, than it does actually prog, although it
Yeah.
does go to those places. And I think this makes this album easier and accessible in that regard. Um, One of the things that I picked this album for. The band was doing covers in '97, and they were so into it that they changed their name within Arabs in Aspic to homage to King Crimson. This Norway entry into heavy on progressive psychedelic rock that's kind of wedged perfectly in classic rock, proto rock, and even this bit of doom. Because the album, the heaviness riff does happen. Very much the elder thing you're talking about.
Yeah.
I love Norway, and there's a great darkened adventure land you can explore in Prague, rock, and avant garde. And it could start here if you really like this record. So there's
Hmm.
plenty to hook you. This is actually a raw sounding Prague, which is
Hmm.
not a normalcy. Um, and I believe that is why people gravitate to the next album and the next album because they
Okay.
are much more polished machines and they are much more prog and they lean heavily into more of that.
So they make up their mind
Yes.
between what I, yeah. Because like you were saying, I didn't feel this was doomy, but I guess I don't know a lot of doom.
It's not heavy doom. It's not,
But
it's not.
I would say like subdued to me. It felt subdued. Like
Mhm.
I didn't feel like, sometimes I hear a sound, some sound you'll put on and I'll be like, oh, like that's too much. This wasn't necessarily too much. It just didn't grab me.
Well,
So,
the Sabbath side is kind of that doom. All right. But that's a lighter doom. That's a good thing to say, I'd say. There are people that go way bigger than Sabbath. So
mm,
so this album is 20 years old when it gets reissued.
yeah.
And in some aspects, doesn't it sound older in places?
Well, there were a couple small spaces where again, I always try to, I don't want to pit it against other things, but I was almost trying to hear like the Genesis sound a little bit, or I was trying to figure out what it was because I'm still,
Mm-hmm.
not a prog expert by any means, but a little shades of, yeah, I would say a little bit. Do you think that was intentional, or you think it was just,
No, I think it's just a sound they developed.
yeah,
And I think I like the Progeria side of this where they're too young to be playing old stuff. Get it?
yeah,
Yeah. But hey, that's just why I picked it, and I wanted the crew to have a 27-minute album to deal with, and in your statement of saying it felt long, I'm like, wow, it's crazy. It's 27 minute felt long. We've done records that have taken an hour and 11 minutes, and
yeah,
but I get the idea of what you're saying that when you're listening to the melody and how it's coming all together, the length of the songs make it such that it may seem longer than it actually is, which is kind
yeah.
of one of the charms of this record is it 27 minutes you don't feel like it was 27 minutes, but you don't feel like it was too long either. Um,
Mhm.
so for me, I score the album artwork at 2.5. I think they could have done much more with it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's fading. There's but
I just thought maybe it was someone special to them, so I don't want to.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, in actuality, the entire inside too is not well. Um, you know, Even the print is kind of blurry to some degree. That it's my age, but so that there's the front
Could
and
be both.
back, right? And
Okay.
then in the inside, they kind of show the band, but it's blurred in an area because of this light they got going on. And I actually had to go online because I couldn't read the band members because it's against that shade of light against
Yeah.
yellow, and
Yeah.
so I had to double check and of course they're not standard Joe Smith kind of names. And
Nope.
I apologize for butchering all of them. Um, Next was the album flow of music, and that is where I scored it perfect. I thought that flow, it didn't even matter to me whether I was in a song or not in a song, what
Right.
track changed. I thought it all just went splendidly together.
Hmm.
Um, the musicianship, the band, the melody. I was for because what they're doing, people have done, and they've molded it into this album for themselves. And I didn't hear anything that was like, wow, blown away by, but it's all very well done in kind of this youthful idea of old. And accessibility, I am a 4.5. I think this is extremely accessible in people that like rock, proto rock, classic rock, the Floyd and Sabbath parts. That's familiarity. That should, but then there's more, and that more could make you a prog person that you go, okay, who else is like them? Or what
Hmm.
did they sound like next? You're still going to get some of those pieces, but they're going to be influenced now by mellotron and theremin and other instruments that they might bring in. So, as for the production, I scored it a 4. Um, Raw, and that's something you don't get with a prog record in some cases. That it feels raw. But
Hmm.
there are other production pieces next. Moving on, are much more bombastic and well, mixed, so to speak. But I'm not sure that the Hell's Angels had anything to do with that. But it was
Yeah.
a statement that that happened. So Susie's score for the record is a 18.25, and my score for the record is a perfect 20. Um, it's not, well, a 20 on the dot, I should say, not
Hmm.
perfect. Um,
Striking the dot.
so that gives them a final score of 19.125. That will obviously not beat our reigning album from Philip Sace, but still a record that in the rock, heavy rock, prog movement for the 2000 delivery date. Again, I'm trying to plead my case that rock didn't die ever. And everyone's saying it died and blah. No, there are people doing great things, finding sounds from the past, utilizing, bringing it forward, and then putting their own spin or adding something to it, or finding their melody and their song, their voice. And
Yeah.
you should give them a listen. Oh, an album 20 years old. In some respects, it sounds older than it is, and 27 minutes sounds longer than it is. What did you think of Progeria? Are you interested in what came next from a 27-minute prog rock debut? I think you should be. We will see you again in April. That's right, for another Album Listen Challenge Redux 2026. Hopefully, more panelists because I'm offering up one of my favorite UK albums of all time that came in one of the most stressful expectations of a sophomore record in UK history. It would not only kind of be a second coming, but more importantly, the end. Don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe to us at any point in time. We're open 24/7. Tell your friends, your neighbors, your teacher, your coach, your therapist, that strange man that walks his dog at 1 a.m. past your window, a Sherpa, perhaps, maybe even your psychic advisor. But shouldn't they know about us already? We're on the web at beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, of course. Videos, articles, podcasts soon, all about bands, albums, artists, anything we can get our ears on and our hands on. Well, I get the hands on it because I'm the purchaser. Go Beyond Your Radio with us, a real music appreciation channel. Thanks for watching. Happy listening.
Mhm.